Welcome to the leftover portion on our coverage of the E3 conference. So we covered Microsoft, Sony, and Nintendo. Now we're going to cover Bethesda, Square Enix, and the PC gaming conference. All three were okay in their own right. Well, let me not exaggerate. I really liked the Square Enix one. But as for the other two, we might have to hear out on the other guys on their bits. Hear us out on the fourth part of this episode of 10 Cent FM Redux. Alright, and right now we are going to get into the leftover portion of the show, where we will be covering Bethesda, Square Enix, and the PC Gamer Conference.
EA and Ubisoft was in there as well.
Who's paying attention to them? I was half-assed watching that.
Actually had some good stuff in EA and Ubisoft. I have to give them some props, though.
Alright, Mike, well, can you give me some of the lowdown on both of those, if you...
Well, first of all, in EA, just Star Wars Battlefront really blew me away. It way surpassed my expectations. I loved the series back in the day, but when I saw the EA attached to it, and I've had some complaints with Battlefield recently and the whole way they go about their business, but wow, that footage it looked amazing. That was the best Star Wars battle I've ever seen, game, TV, or movie.
Actually, you know what? I will chime in on this. That did look really good, and even though I've seen it several times amongst the conferences, it looked really good.
It made me not feel so bad about pre-ordering the limited edition.
Did you, were you able to catch that, D?
No. I did see the trailer afterwards, though. But yeah, it definitely looked good. I mean, anytime, I feel like for any Star Wars game, every time you try and show it off, like, Hoth is usually the first place they go to. Just because you can always, like, have so much stuff going on in there, so. But it definitely looks cool.
Anything else we should cover on the EA or Ubisoft, Mike?
I thought...
Or Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
I was gonna say, I thought For Honor, that game that basically looked like Dynasty Warriors with Vikings, Knights, and fucking Samurai, that looked awesome.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there, Greg. That game looked really impressive.
Didn't it have a multiplayer component where you can, like, face off against your friends, too?
Uh-huh. And it almost had a little Bushido blade where, like, the way you held your sword was, like, it had real sword fighting styles, which looked really cool.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't think either of us care too much for Assassin's Creed or any of that stuff. So.
I do like the setting that they chose, but I kind of, as someone who majored in history, I kind of like every setting they choose, so I guess I can't really.
Do you think you'll be getting into it, Greg?
Once it's $30 or cheaper, but after the travesty that was Unity, I refuse to give them $60.
Ooh.
Oh, plus they did... No, wait, never mind. That was at the Square Enix thing.
we'll be getting there soon.
Yeah, the Division also, that multiplayer looked kind of interesting. I don't think it's going to work quite the way they showed it off in the trailer, where you're just constantly, like, screwing the people around you over, but it was at least an interesting concept, but those things rarely pan out in the actual game.
That's just giving everybody, like, bad ideas, you know, like, for people to be, like, monster trolls on that game. Anything else from Square Enix? Anything else from? All right, yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and kick it off with Bethesda.
Oh.
All right.
You have our resident Fallout fanboy.
Yeah.
You just can only get so erect.
So
are you gonna get that special edition handheld like hip?
I had that pre-ordered the minute it went live on Amazon.
These fools already ordered.
I was in the line for Haunted Mansion at Magic Kingdom, looking at my phone going, oh shit, that is mine.
Man, totally snatched up. But yeah, and speaking of the two coming out on the Xbox One and the PS4, Xbox One, which we didn't get a chance to mention in the last video, will give you the ability to use PC mods on that version, which is a huge incentive because PC modding is maybe most of the reason why sometimes I get a game in the PC world.
They did say they were going to try and bring it to the PS4. We'll see if they actually can achieve that ambitious feat and how it works, because they won't have that whole PC modding community around it, but we'll see how that goes.
So anybody wants to give me the... I was in and out with Fallout. I was looking at it, but I wasn't really absorbing it like I probably would have, like Greg would, or maybe even Mike. So what if one of you guys give me the lowdown on, or give the audience a lowdown on what that game really improved on?
Well, I would say the one thing that really stood out to me, I mean, as opposed to past Fallouts, was the customization. Customization seemed like a huge theme all through E3. Every game was about almost letting you put your personal touch. The way you can kind of mod your armor, mod weapons, build a little town, and that looked really interesting to me. I want to see how they incorporate that and how it changes the Fallout experience.
One, I like how you could do the caravans from one settlement to another, so you could constantly be trading with yourself. I liked how they seemed to improve the hell out of the first-person mode in, any combat situation. Because before, in Fallout 3, you pretty much ran around until you had full AP and just used the shit out of bats. And then once that ran out, you ran the hell around again until it filled up and used it again. Because if you tried shooting with just the normal crosshairs, you could have your gun point blank crosshair over him and somehow you'll miss the enemy.
Yeah, you're just gonna be wasting ammo. That definitely looked like a big bonus.
Game definitely encouraged me to. I don't know if I can really go back to Fallout 3 right now, even though I'm sure it's a fine game. But I know it's the hours that
statement of the century.
It's just the amount of hours you'd have to put into it. It's not my cup of tea right now and on the priority list. But I mean, like, from what I saw, great looking game. Like, it looks like they're doing a lot. The customization with the weapons just seemed like they've really overhauled on this game, and I think it'll definitely be a strong contender for Game of the Year. And the game hasn't even come out yet, so.
Yeah, and how long has it been since Fallout 3 came out? Like 7
years.
Mm-hmm. 7. So they've had enough time.
And as a native New Englander, I can't wait to explore post-apocalyptic Boston.
All right, well, is there anything like bad we could say about this conference, or not so great?
The way they kind of the one thing I didn't like, to get back to pacing, was they opened with Doom, which I thought that was a game that wasn't on my radar that really excited me. But then in between, like, all their 3 big games, Dishonored 2, Doom, and Fallout, they had like these little, like, look, we're doing some Elder Scrolls Online, don't worry. And then that weird BattleNet game just did nothing for me.
I thought that was alright. That was a consistent theme I started to notice when I was watching this conference. And the only reason I was kind of watching this conference is because, like, I kind of have like a small interest in these games, and then too, like, it was the first conference to kick off the E3 show, so it was really interesting. I noticed the common theme was, it made me go back and think, like, wow, I should have really finished those games. Like, and when I say those games, like Fallout 3 and Dishonored 1, because the
problem is when you get out of the loop with those, like, then like 6 months later, booting it back up, you're just like, wait, what? What quests am I doing? What do I have to do? Like, what are the buttons again? It's just kind of hard getting into that.
Yeah, that's what happened to me with Fallout 3. I was like, one day I was like, oh, let me go ahead and pick it back up, and then when I did it, I was like, literally just like you described that, and I was just like, wow, what am I doing? Like, where am I? And it was just, and I didn't feel like starting over, so I just said, fuck it, just tossed it to the bin. So anything else that we could take away from it, good or bad?
I don't have anything to say about Bethesda, but I would like to give a RIP shout out to Konami, because being that they're pretty much done with games, they obviously didn't have a conference, which usually they have like a video that they play every year, like showing off Castlevania or like a Metal Gear update or something. And I'm pretty sure we're never going to see that again, so just a quick RIP to Konami.
I will say the 40 minutes of Metal Gear gameplay that I watched today on IGN was amazing. That game really blew me away. I think that has the potential to be the best of the series.
Going out with a bang.
Yeah, totally. And from the way Mike was describing it to me earlier, Dimitri. It reminded me of Peace Walker. So if it's basically Peace Walker on a well, we played it on a big screen because it was a remastered version of the portable. I mean, if it's just like a
open world Peace Walker.
Yeah.
I would say, from looking at it, Peace Walker meets Mercenaries. I don't know if you ever played any of those games, but
I played Mercenaries. Yeah.
The open world, the way you can call in vehicles, the different ways you can go about it. The thing that I loved about the trailer or the gameplay footage I watched was you picked your main objective, and then they were like, oh look, here's a little side mission to get an interpreter, and you actually couldn't understand anyone in Russian until you got a Russian interpreter like on your side. So that was a huge way. Like if you didn't have that when you went to complete the mission, it would have been a huge detriment to you. And the customization was down to like you could do your insignia, who you take with you, even like the barrel, the grips, like your full gun customization. It just really looked deep.
Does it have injury status? Like, do you have to cure yourself of some?
It looked like he was taking a lot of punishment, which was the one
I hope you don't
thing
have
that
to
kind of
stop.
worried me about it.
I hope you don't have to stop and like burn leeches off your.
No, not like.
Or whatever.
It looked like it was more like a standard third-person action game when the way he was taking damage. I don't know if that was just for the game. You know, sometime for demos they'll tweak it so like the guy doesn't die in the middle of it. But
well, you know, sometimes with Metal Gear, I always got. Yeah, it's supposed to be like a legit sort of serious game, but it always had that tinge of like Japanesey, like arcade feel to it. Like, did it look like it still had that going on, or not really?
It looked like this one had more action, I would say, where like in the old ones where I might reload a save if I got into a big firefight, this one seemed like firefights were part of it. Like you were going to get into them, and they was actually tweaked a little bit to include the kind of combat of being in a war zone.
But does he have sex with a 14-year-old girl in the box on the beach?
I can't verify that from what I saw, but the dog does pee.
Oh, okay.
I can confirm that for all of you fans out there, the dog will pee.
Close enough then.
Confirmed.
Wow, that was really going off on a tangent. Now, I think it's safe to say we can dive into Square Enix now.
Yeah, I don't know if they've done a conference before, or maybe this is their first one.
I think this is their first one. Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a pleasant surprise. So hopefully they do more, and they definitely had enough to announce, because I was expecting to see Kingdom Hearts 3, but I didn't know if it was going to be on the Sony conference or their own, and they definitely made the right decision by putting it on theirs. So I think that definitely impressed a lot of people.
Totes, I'm gonna go off on this. I mean, like, wow, this might have been my second favorite conference. They really, like, man, from the shithole that they were in, like, to now, like, they really went out. I mean, you have Nier 2. I did not expect a sequel out of that game. Talk about a sleeper. That game was a sleeper of an RPG. Very good. I'm glad to see that they're doing that.
Drakengard, I think, is the name it went by.
No, I think that's another game.
Yeah, but it's in the same, like, franchise.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. So, they had that. They had Kingdom Hearts 3, which that video blew me away because you actually got to see the gameplay for it, and it looked great. Like, as far as what Disney characters they're gonna cover, at this point, I don't give a fuck. Like, it could be, like, straight up, like, their own original story. They will dive into some characters, but from what they showed...
You know they're gonna have Frozen in there. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's happening. I bet you that might have been why it's been delayed so long. But not really. The biggest thing is a dedicated RPG dev team. Like, does anybody remember the name of it? Like Tokyo RPG House or something like that?
Tokyo RPG Factory.
Yes, there we go.
What was the name of it? It was like an RPG factory in Tokyo.
But just that someone out there is committed again to making original games, like that got me excited. I'm getting so sick of the sequels, and especially original JRPGs, because JRPGs have a special place in my heart. Yes,
same here. So the fact that like that totally got me on board with like Square Enix again. I've always held that glimmer of hope, but man, like they really seem to be putting some dedication behind this.
Like, are we gonna go back into a heyday of like Super Nintendo, where almost every like year we were getting like 2 or 3 amazing JRPGs?
Yeah, I mean, compared to where Square Enix was as a company when Final Fantasy 13 came out and where they are now, it's crazy to see the difference.
Unbelievable. I was just really like taken away from that. It really
I think
blew
I
me
was
away.
impressed by Just Cause 3 as well. They had a little thing on that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they covered some Westerners. They covered that. They covered
Deus Ex.
Hitman. Hitman. What's Hitman? Hitman and Pikmin. Yeah.
I play that game.
I would too. All right, and the Deus Ex, that looked really nice. Like, it looks like they got some Western RPGs on lock. You know, they showed off a little bit more of Tomb Raider. Looked really good. I definitely need to play the first one just to get myself like in the mood for it eventually when the second one comes out. Yeah. Now, is there anything that we could take away from like that we didn't like, that we weren't too impressed about with Square Enix?
Yeah,
and I think I know where Mike's gonna get.
Missing that I was definitely looking forward to. Where was my Final Fantasy 15? I mean, I was almost expecting a release date going in, considering the fact that I have a demo and that the demo's been updated with more content, and they didn't even mention it. Like, that really caught me off guard.
Whoa,
They showed it for like 1 second in like a video montage. Like, look, it's here, and that's it.
First off, the fact that you have the demo, I'm definitely gonna have to scope it the next time I'm in your area. But like, yeah, not even a release date is almost kind of worrisome to not. I mean,
not even, actually, I think the fact that they didn't even mention it, let alone like, I could even have like dealt with a video and then like 2016 that vague or something, but like they showed nothing. They didn't even talk about it.
Yeah, you think they have something new to show, like anything.
I guess they're just having people bank off the update of the demo. But even they could have showed like a 30-second video package of that instead of showing the Final Fantasy VII trailer all over again.
No,
like,
instead they brought out that one guy who could barely speak English and was nervous and was just like staring into the camera, reading off the teleprompter.
Oh, that dude was so bad. I think he's like the president of Square Enix, and I guess like when you're that high up in like the chain, like. You kind of are obligated to speak English. Like, dude,
what was it with that translator? Like he was like delayed, and then he was kind of whispering at times.
Like he made Owada look like a native speaker of English. That's how bad that guy was. I mean, not. All right. On a serious note, I would never knock on somebody because I could barely speak English. So
yeah, well,
like,
their English is leaps better than our Japanese. So
yeah.
They had the guy from Montreal too for Deus Ex. The little French guy came out.
Yeah, oh, that guy.
Powered over him, and she looks straight out of like 1950s household. Like, why is my aunt telling me to play this game?
Yeah, that was definitely pretty odd. But anything else we could chime in on as far as like things we didn't really care for and what we saw?
No, I mean, I don't really care for Deus Ex too much. So, but then again, it looked like a perfectly fine game.
Agreed. I think that pretty much covered it for me. I mean, I thought they had more positives than negatives. So
yeah, I hope they do want to get next year.
Yeah, I think that's the plan too, because I even saw something today. Like, I usually don't like try to bring news into this kind of segment, but they even like they're polling people to see, like, what other Final Fantasies do you want us to remake? Can anybody take a guess which one they thought of first? The majority of the people. 6, of course. 6. That is a no-brainer. And don't give us any of that Chiba shit, like
Final Fantasy IV remake.
Yeah, like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but with the technology we have today, that will not be acceptable.
I'd assume there's a lot more effort involved in making something look like a F7 remake.
Oh well, I think 6 is. Yeah, I think 6 is more grander. Like, it would it would take years upon years to make that because there's just
I'm sorry.
no, there's too much world to cover. Like, can you agree with me, Mike? Like,
yeah, no, 6 was an incredible game for anybody who played it. I mean, they pushed the hardware of the day to its limits, and it was gorgeous. I mean, it's a work of art.
it still looks, it holds up today. I played that shit several years back. Looked phenomenal. But then again, I'm a Super NES buff. What's up? All right, and I think we can move on from Square Enix. Did anybody watch the PC conference?
I don't have a PC, so no.
I watched a trailer for one game for it, or from it.
Man, I tried to watch it live. I do all my gaming on the PC, and I was excited when they announced it up until I saw the kind of format it was going to be, like a late night talk show kind of thing, with like 2 commercials for AMD, which granted they sponsored the thing, so they were going to have some talk about their video cards, but the way I saw it was like their first time doing it, so it was a good effort. By next year, if they do it again, it'll probably be better. It's like those video game awards where it's like, you're like, I guess I'll watch them in case something interesting happens, but then when you watch it, you're just cringing the whole time, like how bad it is.
Dude, I was from the beginning of that video package where they were trying to playing up to the almighty PC Master Race. I was like, are you guys kidding me? Like, I love the music. It was like epic music, but like, dude, what are you doing? Stop.
Yeah, the only problem is they kept like talking about games that I had zero interest for, like City Skylines, where you're like, okay, they're coming out with something you don't really care, like some random roller coaster game. Like,
I actually thought it was amazing.
I
played the shit out of Roller Coaster Tycoon growing up.
As soon as I saw that game, I was like, that's Greg's game. And the people cheered like Final Fantasy VII Remake got revealed. I was like, guys, calm down.
Well, because people were thinking it was Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, but it was just called like Coaster Land or what.
But it's essentially Roller Coaster Tycoon, so...
Yeah.
You can't make them vomit, it's no good.
Or drop them in a lake to drown. So then like Blizzard came out and they just talked about Heroes of the Storm, which again I don't care for, so I'm just waiting for something to be like, alright, when is something gonna be talked about that I kind of care for? And another thing that was kind of disappointing was that Valve had no presence there, which they could have at least just been there just to at least talk about Steam machines, because those are a thing now that are coming out, so they didn't obviously have to talk about games, because they don't even really make games anymore, but at least talk about some updates that you're doing to Steam or Steam machines. But it was a step in the right direction. Hopefully next year it'll be more interesting, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. The impressions weren't great. Actually, they weren't that good, but it could have been better, and it was a good effort. I mean, like, they wanted to get out of the dark, shadowy corners that they're usually from in E3. PC gaming does have a presence, so rightfully so that they were able to try to do their thing.
And then Flicky B came out, and I think he was talking about some game, because I think he has some indie studio, so I don't know what that was about.
Dude,
I kept losing interest.
Yeah, to be honest, I went and laid down after a while because I was just like, this isn't, like, I'm trying hard to give them a chance and this just wasn't happening.
Yeah, it's unfortunate we're ending on like a sour note with this one, but
we're just calling it like we see it.
It is what it is, I suppose.
And on that note, I think we're gonna wrap it up, folks. So, you know, I thought overall, I still think this is one of the better E3s in a really long time. Well, actually, yes, without a doubt. I mean, we had some of the biggest freaking games, right, guys? Like, it was nuts. It was nuts. But yeah, I knew that. Yep, you did. So if you guys, to close it out, you know, if you guys like this video, go ahead and like it on the YouTube channel. Go ahead and comment, subscribe. Go ahead and check out gamerslife.guru and 10centgaming.com for accompanying articles for today's podcast special. And go ahead and follow 10cent Gaming and Gamers Life Guru on the Twitter and Facebook. Go ahead and use Google. You can figure it out. Or you can check out the description below. I don't mean to be a dick like that, I promise. And feel free to follow me on Twitter. Right below at the bottom, if you can't really read it, it's at NHARNAMJI. Any plugs you guys want to have, or not really?
Nope. We'll see you when we see you.
Yep, and we're going to go ahead and end it on that note. Hope you guys liked E3, and we will catch you on the flip side.